April 12, 1943. Inside a cavernous Long Island factory, the air was a deafening symphony of screaming rivet guns and roary engines. Thousands of workers swarmed over the skeletal husks of B-17 bombers, fueled by the desperate pressure of production quotas. Speed was the only metric that mattered. But beneath the wings of a half-built warbird, Beatrice Schilling stood perfectly still. Her hands shook as she held a simple wooden pencil. She wasn't an executive or a decorated general. She was a quiet test inspector in a world that barely noticed her. Above her, the clock was a heartbeat. Somewhere over the Atlantic, American pilots were falling out of the sky, not because of German flak, but because their own engines were failing and their wings were snapping in clear weather. The Army Air Forces called it material stress. Engineers blamed combat fatigue. But Beatrice had a terrifying hunch. She pressed her pencil against a seam in the fuselage and began to draw a single, steady line. The lead dipped, then it snagged, then it vanished into a gap that shouldn't exist. As she moved, the pencil revealed a map of betrayal. Crooked bolts, shaved braces, and microscopic fractures hidden beneath fresh paint. This wasn't a series of accidents, it was a silent massacre. At that moment, Beatrice realized she wasn't just looking at a faulty plane, she was looking at a crime scene. A secret enemy plot had infiltrated the very heart of the arsenal of democracy, turning the factory floor into a battlefield. That pencil line was about to expose 18 sabotaged aircraft in a conspiracy that reached further than anyone dared to imagine. The supervisors wanted her to sign the papers and keep the line moving. Beatrice Schilling was about to stop it dead.
Fast but enough to fail later. High in the sky, thousands of miles from home, where help would never arrive. At first, crashes looked normal. War was dangerous, planes broke, pilots died, equipment failed under stress, but the numbers kept climbing. Good pilots, new planes, clear weather, still they fell. Commanders blamed training, engineers blamed material stress and combat fatigue. No one blamed the factory floor. That was unthinkable. American manufacturing was supposed to be the arsenal of democracy, untouchable, unstoppable. Beatrice didn't buy it. She was quiet but sharp. She had grown up fixing things, bikes, radios, anything broken. Her father taught her to trust what her hands could feel, what her eyes could see. During one routine check, she ran her pencil across a wing seam. It dipped slightly. She stopped. She checked the specifications again. The seam should be flush, perfectly aligned. She checked another plane. Same dip. Then another. She began using the pencil on every plane she could reach. It became her ritual, her obsession. When it stayed flat, she moved on. When it dipped, she marked it. Soon her list grew. Too many planes, too many dips, too many patterns that made no sense. She reported it. Managers laughed. A pencil wasn't a tool. It wasn't in the manual. They told her to stop slowing the line. Production numbers were everything. She didn't stop. She worked nights, early mornings before shifts started, and after they ended, she checked planes others rushed past. She found bolts cut just short, braces filed thin, fuel lines nicked, rivets loosened just enough. All small, all invisible to the naked eye, all deadly at altitude. She traced patterns, same spots, same damage, same production line, over and over. When she brought proof, the response was harsh. The pencil test was banned, officially prohibited. Supervisors said it scared workers, hurt morale, made delays, created paranoia on the floor. They ordered her to sign off and move on, do her job the normal way. She refused. She kept records, dates, numbers, plane tail identification. She documented everything in a notebook she carried everywhere. Then came the crash that changed everything. A bomber went down during a routine test flight over Long Island Sound. Both pilots died instantly. The wreck was pulled from the water and torn apart. Engineers found a failed wing brace, filed thin, weakened, deliberately, just like Beatrice had marked weeks before. Her reports were pulled from storage. Her planes were counted. Her warnings were reviewed. 18 planes showed signs of the same damage,
all built on the same lines, all passed standard inspection, all ready to fly to Europe. If they had gone overseas, they would have broken apart in combat. Crews would have died, missions would have failed, entire squadrons could have been lost. The Army launched a quiet probe. Counterintelligence moved in. They found workers with strange ties, late-night meetings in dark corners, missing tools never reported, German money hidden in lunch pails. The plot unraveled fast. Arrests followed, lines shut down, planes stripped and rebuilt piece by piece. New checks were ordered across the country. The pencil test was no longer banned, it became standard procedure. Inspectors were told to trust simple tools, trust their eyes, trust their instincts, trust their doubts. One thin line of graphite had done what charts and meetings and regulations could not. Pilots noticed the change. Crash rates dropped sharply, confidence rose. Planes came home damaged but whole. Crews lived to fly another mission. Letters from the front spoke of trust. Trust in the plane beneath them, trust in the people who built it back home. Beatrice never asked for praise. She never gave interviews. She stayed at her post. She trained others. She taught them to slow down, to feel seams with their fingertips, to listen to small signs their gut told them. She saved lives without ever leaving the ground, without ever firing a shot. After the war, many stories were told. Aces and their victories, battles and their heroes, big guns and bigger bombs. Few mentioned factory floors, fewer mentioned inspectors. Almost none mentioned a woman with a pencil. But pilots remembered. Some wrote to her, some visited years later. They thanked her for their lives, for their families, for their futures. That morning in April, she went back to the same spot, same noise, same smell of oil and metal and possibility. She drew her pencil line again. This time, it stayed flat, perfect, true. She smiled just a little. Her story was part of something bigger. America didn't just win with bombs and planes. It won with people who cared, people who questioned authority when something felt wrong, people who refused to rush past danger for the sake of numbers. From shipyards to airfields, small choices added up to huge power. By 1944, American factories built more planes than all Axis nations combined that year. Millions of workers, thousands of checks, countless small acts of diligence and courage. Each one made the difference between life and death in the sky. Here's the number that matters most: 18 planes. That's how many she stopped. Each carried 10 men. That's 180 lives saved by one pencil line, one woman, one refusal to look away. Thanks for listening to this story. If it moved you, share it with someone who needs to hear it. Subscribe for more real World War II stories like this. Next time, we'll uncover another hidden battle you've probably never heard before.